but they didn't. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about our star, Corey Haim, before we get to the background characters. Because I gotta say, as an adult, this may be his best performance.
Yeah. I mean, pretty close to. I'm a huge fan of License to Drive. Of course, Lost Boys as well, but that's a younger Corey Haim, too, a couple years younger. And right now, we're getting to what? He was 19 years old at this time for
1990.
Okay. Yeah. So they filmed in 80 or 89, so most likely, and yeah.
So yeah, I guess License to Drive would have made him.
But still, I would count this. He's still underage at that time too. He's still under 18 at License to Drive time, and this is a older Corey Haim now coming out. He's got his money. He's probably moved out of Toronto finally. Got a little nice little loft in L.A. Yeah, and hanging out and just but man. Watching this for the first time and thinking of past Corey Haim that I know him from with the aforementioned movies, he does a really good job in this movie.
I completely agree. Yeah. I think he's fantastic, and good for him. I think he got nominated for like a sci-fi award.
Yeah, the Saturn Award,
Saturn Award for best performance by a young person. I don't know how they, but I mean, he Licensed to Drive. Dream a Little Dream, Lost Boys, of course, Lucas. Yeah. Those are all pretty big, like, preteen movies. And then he's like, let's do something edgy. Let's do something outside of that. Let's do Prayer of the Rollerboys. And he delivers within the realm of the movie, I think he delivers a wonderful performance.
It's everything from kind of this, teenager who is thinking of a better life. He's not going to step in line with the Rollerboys methods and thoughts, which is good. I think any sane person should see that ad on TV and step away from that. Yeah. But still, you got a life. You're trying to make it without your parents, and he does a great job of being that kind of kid who's trying to be the bigger man here and watching over his brother while at the same time falling in love too and helping out the police. I mean, it's so good as far as the different emotions that he has in it that are kind of, you think are going to be laughable, but then you look back and you're like, oh, he handled that pretty well. As far as what the movie is.
The tongue-in-cheek in this seems to be mainly aimed at society as opposed to the characters themselves, Right. Like delivering pizzas with a machine gun and things like that. So, do you have a brief synopsis of this movie you could share with us, Marcus?
Yeah, it's very brief. An undercover teen, Corey Haim, of the dismal future joins a cult of roller skaters who push a drug called mist. And that was the synopsis. What I find funny about that is a cult, not a neo-Nazi group of a cult of roller skaters.
Yeah, also they're not roller skaters, they're rollerbladers.
No, they're rollerbladers, yeah.
They're inline skaters.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the tagline for this movie, did you see that by chance?
I haven't, oddly enough. Go ahead.
The tagline for Prayer of the Rollerboys that is shown on the poster, better say your prayers, boy, they're coming.
All right.
Just pretty vague, but yeah.
Yeah. Help me, Marcus, understand what happened to everyone. Why are people put in camps?
So, and that was kind of what I was trying to gather too from the whole thing, because America had pulled so much debt from borrowing money from other countries that everybody just went into debt along with the nation itself, and from there on, people either turned to suicide, killing themselves because they had nothing else to live for, or were just impoverished and
alcohol. Corey's father was an alcoholic,
right? And had to live in the camps because they just didn't have any money to live. Where you had Speedbagger, who apparently has a nice little shop and a little place to live.
Just a junker.
Right. And that's always going to be whether you're in right now or post-apocalyptic times, you're always going to need a junker. Yeah.
Learn a real trade, people.
Right.
That's what it goes to show you. So because the parents ruined it for the youths and the parents were moved into camps because they couldn't afford their housing.
Right.
Okay. And from that, as Gary Lee says, starting in the camps, he started this group that offered shelter, income, a family of sorts, when our parents couldn't do that for us.
Correct, yeah. Because he does mention the Great Crash, so I mean, It had to be just like a,
like a Great Depression type scene, from the 20s.
I guess the Great Depression would be even better than 2008, but that's a bigger crash, yeah. So it would have to be just a Greater Depression. So yeah.
So Corey Haim, just to mention a few things he does after this, because I don't know if we'll talk much about it, but of course he was a pretty big deal coming up in the 80s. Lucas was pretty popular. Of course, Lost Boys is just fantastic. Yeah. The movie, after Prayer of the Rollerboys, he doesn't really do another big film.
Yeah, I was looking at that list, and I think, going back right now, I think that Blown Away I definitely had seen, because I remember...
The threesome?
Yes, and that was something that I'd always try to stay up late as a kid and watch, whenever it was on TV.
That's a nice duck.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and Demolition High, I definitely saw. And I believe like he was in Crank High Voltage as well.
Fun.
He had a little not a cameo, but it was a short little part in it. Yeah.
Now, of all of these, what I remember most is his second film after this, The Fast Getaway.
Yeah.
Where he plays the bank robber, and the Queen of Kung Fu herself is in there as well.
I never saw Fast Getaway.
It really is good too? It's fine. It's I mean I used to watch it a lot. A gang of bank robbers, I'm reading directly, but who fall out and split up. The brains of the gang is a boy who, with his father, successfully continue their crime spree. Annoyed at this is Cynthia Rothrock's character, and she's basically like, I'm kicking everybody's ass. So you get some fun fight scenes with Cynthia Rothrock.
Oh, nice.
They
made a sequel to it.
Yeah. I'm so glad you remember Blown Away, because that's another one. Me as well. I would be like, oh boy. I'd see it on the scroll coming up, like it's going to show at 11 or something. I'd be like, all right, just need to stay up a little bit longer.
Luckily, I didn't. Luckily, I had to wait only 3 years before Jeff Bridges made another Blown Away, and then I had to realize, which one is it this time? Is it going to be Jeff?
Yeah. Is it worth it to stay up? In 1990, I was a Corey Haim fan. He's great in this movie, and we get a lot of other fun performances in this movie. And let's just start with a very young Patricia Arquette.
Yes, yeah, does great. Love. Patricia Arquette is always Patricia Arquette. It's just that quirky kind of thing ever since Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff too. It's just she's a great actress. It's just she plays. She's great in her wheelhouse, and this is her wheelhouse kind of part for it too.
Yeah, so Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warrior was her first big break. Mm-hmm. And then, 1990, it was a big year for her.
Yeah,
a lot of TV, and then there was an Outsiders TV series, Tales from the Crypt. Yeah. She was on that show, and then of course she did Prayer of the Rollerboys, and then just went up from there. Good for her. Beyond Rangoon, which I remember seeing. Ed Wood,
True Romance, of course. Lost Highway was great. Bringing Out the Dead. I mean, there's
Holes.
So much. Yeah, Little Nicky.
Little Nicky, yeah. Patricia Arquette, of course, goes on, has a great career, and she is the sister of David Arquette, correct?
Correct.
And then we get Christopher Collette, who kind of crushes it as Gary Lee.
He does. Watching this, my immediate reaction was they couldn't get Kiefer Sutherland. And it was kind of I just, I see Kiefer in that jacket and rollerblade, and he could have done that easily, right? I mean, I think so.
Sure.
But still, yeah, Colette, he does great, man. Yeah. Is Gary Lee.
And he has had a great career too. A lot of voice work for like Yu-Gi-Ohs and stuff like that. Pokemon, Ultraman. I mean, and then he's also done quite a lot of TV. MacGyver. What was the other thing I just saw he did? The Purge TV series, 2018.
Oh, nice. Okay. I did look up when I was kind of researching him as well. Yeah. I saw that him and his wife own a Pilates studio in Brooklyn.
There you go.
And I tried I called the number just to see if we would answer.
You son of a bitch. I did. What happened?
Numbers out of service. It ends up that they're closed. I think COVID times hit them. And yeah, unfortunately.
Damn.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Gary Lee predicted would happen.
It was. I think he just took too many loans out and probably.
Yeah, probably. There's no one else I really want to talk about on the cast except Mark Pellegrino.
I was hoping.
Because he's another guy that I think gives a great performance, and I was like, why do I know that name so much? And for me, I know him as Rip's younger brother from No Holds Barred.
Yeah, No Holds Barred. I think I remember him most as the man in white, or I forgot his Jacob in Lost. Not the man in black, but Jacob.
Right.
He was in Dexter as well that I remembered him in. But yeah.
Yeah, he had some minor roles on Doogie Howser of D. He had, I guess, a minor role in Lethal Weapon 3 too. Mission of Justice with Jeff Wincott. He is one of the stuntmen in the Gauntlet where he has to fight Jeff Wincott.
Yeah.
So good for him, man. Still working, still doing it.
Probably he had a video game voice and motion capture for Far Cry 5 as well.
That's maybe the coolest thing. Yeah. He played Lucifer in Supernatural. So I mean, this guy, he's really come out on top. He's crushing it.
Yeah.
Quantico, that short-lived TV series.
Yeah. But it looks like with his filmography, TV and film, he has done something every year. It looks like from 1987, he has been involved. At least that's listed. So I'm not sure of other things that he's done, but yeah, every year he has been involved in something. Man, that's crazy.
How about him? Just doing some good work, man. I'm glad. I like when this sort of thing happens, like when a minor character like this just ends up being around Hollywood. What a career.
Yeah.
Good for this guy.
I would die for that. I would love that kind of career. Just kind of in the backlight and just getting a paycheck every 6 months kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just a new thing.
If not more. Just because you've done so much work at this point, you probably have a lot of it rolling in. And I guess before we talk about the movie too much, why don't we talk about the director-writer team, Marcus?
Please. Yeah. Rick King, the director, Peter Iliff. How do you pronounce Iliff?
I like Iliff.
Iliff? I like it. We'll just call him Iliff. But yeah, Rick King, let's start. So both of them co-writers for possibly, arguably, one of the best action movies ever made, Point Break. So, yeah, big time coming out of that. Rick King, not much that he had been involved in. I mean, another big one, though, was, of course, Kickboxer 3 that we'd seen. I was trying to think, had you seen any other things from his filmography?
Nah, I mean, Terminal Justice sounds familiar, but I doubt I've seen that.
I think that's been that title.
Lorenzo Lamas, so yeah. In 2008, cybersex can only be surpassed by one thing: cloned women, especially created for their clients. This puts Pamela Travis, a famous and much sought-after cybersex star, in great danger.
Nice.
Dr. Vivian, scientist and genius in the field of biotechnology, wants her DNA to clone her for his many customers. Sergeant Bobby Chase is assigned to protect her, but can't prevent her from being kidnapped. In order to free Pamela, Chase has to risk his life in a deadly virtual reality game called Hellraiser. You know, that started off as a movie I didn't want to see. Now I kind of want to see it.
Now it's kind of piqued your interest a little bit.
Yeah. So this movie came out in 1996, and it's set in 2008.
Yeah.
Where you can get cloned women.
Which is funny because the crash happened in 2008 too. So
yeah,